Hey, sorry about that, folks. The internet is just getting really weird, and it is not allowing me to do what I need to do. It's really, really bad weather here, so just bear with me. I'm gonna try and get this thing going as best as possible. But hopefully you guys can see it, and we are running. So let me get back on here and then get to the comment section. So. Mm, 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 mm. All right, sweet. We are good. All right. So everybody that can see me, let me know. Get on the comments, and Boo, doo, 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 doo. All right, let's try this shit again. Fuck. Now I don't even. All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me. All right. It's working. Anyway, so as I said, I don't even know where this is the shit I have to deal with. This thing was working, and then as soon as we start getting into subjects or talking about things, it'll mess up. I can't explain it. I don't know. So anyway, um hopefully everybody's able to get on here and check it out. We were talking about the Great Reset and how we've been able to see a lot of the, I guess you could say, about the Great Reset and how we've been able to narratives that we are seeing across the globe on trying to suppress, get rid of, hide, eliminate, and just downright fucking cover up our history. And it's sad when you think about it, because I never thought in my lifetime that this would happen. And we're seeing it. We are seeing a globalist elite agenda that is trying to eradicate our, not only just our freedoms, but our way of life, our history, and who we are as a people. And then just trying to tell us, well, you just got to suck it up and deal with it.
So hopefully you guys are able to see me on here. I'm not sure if it's working. If it is, great. Because I am not able to get on any of my shit on my router. So this is something that has not happened all day. Fucking worked. Um, it was going good. Fucking watching TV. It says that it's going and that it's working, and then it'll just shut down. So it's all right. It's not gonna be able to stop me. So can you hear me? Yeah. So I don't know what's up with it. The internet's just being crappy. So anyway, I am on my phone, and I am. Hello. 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 Yeah, I don't. My fucking phone's acting up now too. How weird is that? All right. Well, we'll keep going and see if it works. Hopefully it does. But the way it's looking, it's not happening. All right.
Okay. So I've got. Let me turn this one off. Okay. Hopefully this works. I am really sorry that this shit is happening, but it just seems like something's going on where it's just preventing me from being able to do it and being able to get it done. So sorry about that. Yeah, I'm totally over this crap. If it does go down again, at least I know we can jump on the phone and finish it up. But anyway, my daughter made a very good point. She was saying, "Why is it that we have architecture that um, they were able to build with these sites across the world?" And guessing what you're talking about, baby girl, is the pyramids. You actually see that people are not able. I mean, we're not even able to replicate that by any means. And it's really sad and it's scary at Damn, baby, you ain't even on my side. All right, folks, I am really sorry, but I'm having to restart everything. I don't know what the hell's going on. Even my phone took a crap and the service shut off and was shutting on, shutting off, going on and off, on and off. I've never seen that. So I wonder if it's just got something to do with the weather, if the signal's just getting screwed up, but even still I've never seen it do something like that. So weird. Goddamn government. All right. So we're on. Hopefully it will work. Hopefully we can hear and talk. I am just sick and tired of having to try and fix it because if it doesn't, we're going to have to reschedule it for tomorrow because that's the only thing I can think of doing. All right. So right now I'm on my Secret of the Unknown page. So I will be on there taking comments and answering your guys' stuff. And if you want to talk, cool. So yeah, this is what's been going on today. And I know a lot of people are not able to see or just don't even recognize or realize what the hell's going on because Anton, what's going on, brother? We have a real big issue that's going on here, folks, and I don't think people realize the severity of what is actually going down. I mean, it's crazy because when you think about it, are we living in that time now where we are seeing the reset? And I'm not talking about just uh buildings and technology and stuff, but are we going through a change where we're seeing something that's drastically going to affect the globe? Are we seeing something that is drastically going to change humankind with whatever's going on in the world? And I'm talking about the wars. I'm talking about um, our loss of freedom, our loss of being able to speak our mind and not being, you know, in fear of saying something that's going to piss people off. And if you look at anybody who I don't watch The View.
So we just had a power outage um, here in town, and I'm not sure if it is going to keep going or what. So I'm on my phone. Um, for whatever reason, my phone service keeps glitching in and out, like my actual service is like shutting off. And my son is here, and he's like, I've never seen some shit like that. So I don't know why it's doing that. It's never done that to me before. Um, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. So we've been talking. We're discussing about we've been the reset and what's going on with political powers. And as I said before, we are at that turning point. It seems like where we're replacing common sense and uh, you know saying, "Oh yeah, well, this would make more sense because it's what we want or what we're pushing for." But in fact, we're giving up our freedoms and our rights because of it, not just because of um, we're saying, "Oh, well, this is what we want." It's because of the few that are saying this is what you're going to get and this is what's going to happen, and we're just having to settle for it. And we're going to get to that point where we are going to have to fight for our rights to be able to um, pretty much just try and be the way it used to be, um, living in America, or just living in a free democracy and a free society, because you see the insane crap that is just coming out of people's mouth where they're just saying, well, everything's because of Donald Trump. And, all this, these policies and these murders and everything that's happening is because of him, which I don't understand how you could sit here and blame somebody who wasn't even in office for the past 3 years and then try and turn it around on him and make it seem like he's doing it. And like I said, I'm not gonna push, Democrat, Republican, or whatever. I'm a constitutionalist. And if it's something that's going to infringe on our rights or infringe on our freedoms that our forefathers gave to us and fought for, and that my brothers and sisters and my family members died to be able to have those rights, and you're going to sit here and try and take them away, it's not going to happen. And also, we're seeing right now, I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with the war in Ukraine, but Putin is pretty much stating that if he just sat down with the French president, French president was him, and Putin were going about whatever their diplomacy actions that they were talking about. But Macron, I guess that's what his name is, Macron, Crumpet, whatever the hell, he was pretty much saying that if need be, that they were going to want to put troops into Ukraine through NATO. And if anybody has been following this, already that that is what Putin was saying that he was not going to allow. And what I mean by saying he is not going to allow is that he was telling the West, look, if you put boots in the ground with your countries, sorry,
That he was just gonna he's gonna do what he has to do to protect his people, and that's basically gonna be it. So here you have the president of Russia who is calling out, America on their bullshit because they're trying to fearmonger everybody and get everybody to um, pretty much be afraid of them and saying that, well, Putin just wants to take over the whole European countries. And like I said, Macron went in there and he was talking to him, and Putin pretty much told him, if you guys do this, this is what's going to happen. The nuclear threat is going to be at a capability. If you guys do something, it's going to come fast and swift, and you're not even going to know what hit you. The man is not playing. I've been saying this for a long time, and my buddy Jimmy, I mean, if you're still on here, bud, he can back me. I talked about this stuff all the time when him and I were working together, and I've been saying it throughout my posts. Something is going to happen. We are seeing this reset. And not only is this a reset, is this the beginning of what we're going to see as World War III, like the realness, like it's getting real. Because now we have Sweden, I believe it was, who just joined NATO. And Putin is like, you motherfuckers. Like, we're just pushing this man's buttons to the point where he's going to fucking do what he has to do. And I don't blame him. If somebody was fucking antagonizing me and telling me to go fuck off and just, go get back in your house and don't worry about what the fuck we're doing in your backyard and not heeding your warnings, there comes a time when you're just going to be tired. Enough is enough and you're not going to fucking take it anymore. So, that is one of the other things that's really, coming to a head. And we're starting to see that, you know, historically, this stuff has been brought up before a long time ago. Um, and if you want to call it premonitions, visions, people that have said that this was going to come to pass, was it visions or was it a great reset plan that they initiated? Is this something that they started up because they were like, okay, well, we're going to do this and this is the plan, and they're pushing it because you see that the United States is not stopping Israel and making them have a ceasefire because why? We're giving them weapons. We're feeding them these munitions, and we're helping them and aiding them in killing and slaughtering these people. And we're pushing Ukraine to where we don't even care about those poor bastards that are over there dying. We're just like, okay, well, if we run out of now their thing is they're saying is if we lose Ukraine, then NATO is going to have to jump in there and do something. Why? That's the big issue is why are they pushing war so bad? Why are they pushing it to the point where this man is threatening you with nuclear war and he's telling you, if I do this, you're not even going to know what hit you? But they don't care, and that to me is the scary thing. Because I think this is something that we haven't seen since the Cuban Missile Crisis. The standoff where we are provoking and pushing the buttons of this superpower that just wants to. I mean, we're throwing sanctions at this country, and it's like, what is it doing? Nothing. The man is still getting the aid and the help that he needs. His country is still sustaining itself, and they're fighting a war, and they're kicking Ukraine's ass. Period. And now that you're getting your ass beat, now you want to sit here and, go call all these other poor bastards that have nothing to do with it because you want to implement a war. And it's like, it's crazy. It's really nuts. But as far as history repeating itself, this is something that we're seeing. And I wanted to play something really quick. Let me get on here real quick. There was something that I saw on YouTube. through Anonymous. I was watching it earlier, and the crazy thing about what is happening is that people are just going to the march of this tune, and it's sad to see that we are just, people are just oblivious to the fact of what's going on. Not that that's, with what's going on in general to the United States, but across the globe. Okay, where's my... Okay, I don't care about this stuff. Home. Where is my history? And the other thing too is right now they're saying that with everything that's going on, it's getting to that point where Trump he's going to win it. They're not going to be able to stop him, and the only thing that they're going to be able to pull out is, like I said before, is the war. That's the only thing that's really going to be able to save their ass, is because they have nothing else to throw at this guy. This guy has done everything he can to whip their ass. And it's pretty amazing to see, I think, I just think it's really funny myself, but and anybody that's not following about what's going on right now, I mean, we're getting hit with a big ass storm, and this is something that I was watching. Give me a second.
Is well aware of how U.S. presidents come and go, and U.S. policy never changes.
Общался и с одним президентом США, и с другим, и с третьим. Президенты приходят и уходят, а политика не меняется. Знаете почему? Потому что очень сильна власть бюрократии. Вот человека избрали, он приходит с одними идеями, к нему приходят люди с кейсами, хорошо одетые и в темных, как у меня, костюмах, но только не с красным галстуком, а с черным или с темно-синим. И начинают объяснять, как нужно делать. И все сразу меняется, понимаете?
Putin has made it clear in several interviews that he is well aware of how U.S. presidents come and go, and U.S. policy never changes.
Общался и с одним президентом США, и с другим, и с третьим. Президенты приходят и уходят, а политика не меняется. Знаете почему? Потому что очень сильна власть бюрократии. Вот человека избрали, он приходит с одними идеями, к нему приходят люди с кейсами, хорошо одетые и в темных костюмах, но только не с красным галстуком, а с черным или с темно-синим. И начинают объяснять, как нужно делать. И все сразу меняется, понимаете? Это происходит от одной администрации к другой.
Putin is well aware that it is the CIA who directs U.S. policy, and it is the intelligence agencies of NATO countries who have been covertly instigating war with Russia for decades. In the Tucker Carlson interview at the Kremlin, President Putin seemed to be speaking directly to the CIA, twice playfully hinting that Tucker is a representative of the intelligence organization.
With the backing of whom?
With the backing of CIA, of course. The organization you wanted to join back in the day, as I understand. We should thank God they didn't let you in, although it is a serious organization. I understand.
Who blew up Nord Stream?
You for sure.
I was busy that day. Nate, I did not blow up Nord Stream.
And you see, Tucker Carlson's laughing because he knows what he's saying. He's not saying Tucker Carlson's the one that went and, planted the bombs or whatever, but he's saying, the U.S. did it. You guys know you guys did it. The CIA was a part of it. And that's what's the big thing is people don't understand is Putin worked for the KGB for a long time. And he's savvy to what, these organizations are capable of doing and how they're able to conduct themselves. And that's what he's trying to say is that they've been operating. They're the ones that are controlling everything. They're the ones that are pulling the strings. They're the ones that are telling them, hey, look we're going to keep doing this. And they're the operatives that are working inside of the Ukraine government. And they are the ones that are pushing everything.
Thank you, though.
У вас лично, может быть, есть алиби, у вас лично.
You personally may have an alibi, but the CIA has no such alibi.
And the CIA responded to Putin via their New York Times media outlet in the recent article, The Spy War, how the CIA secretly helps Ukraine fight Putin. The article admits that the CIA, operating through three different presidential administrations, has transformed the Ukraine into Washington's most important intelligence partners against the Kremlin. They have secretly trained and equipped Ukrainian intelligence officers over the past decade and constructed a network of 12 secret bases along the Russian border used to launch cross-border attacks on Russian territory. This means the CIA is responsible for the attacks on oil refineries and energy infrastructure. The article describes secret underground command centers established near the Russian border, financed and equipped by the CIA.
And this goes on to the thing of why, they're pushing this narrative so hard. And he's telling you why. All right. So, yeah. Before it gets all crazy and stuff and stops working. That's just things that, a lot of people, I don't know if, anybody's been checking that out or whatever. If you haven't, cool. But, it just baffles my mind that, we're pushing these narratives so hard to get us to the brink of war that we've gotten here. Why? Why is that? What is the purpose? Who's benefiting from nuclear war? It ain't us. It's not my kids. It's not my friends. It's not my family. It's not anybody that's not a part of the 1%ers. Which is why you see people like Zuckerberg and these other rich people buying up this land to put, these billion-dollar bunkers in to sustain themselves. I mean, there was a video that I was looking at where they were talking about these life-sustaining bunkers, this company that's building these bunkers, and you can watch the end of the world from a safe view, and these people are sitting there drinking champagne, and it shows them looking over outside their window, and this chaos is going all over the place. Another thing that we were trying to check out too was my kids and we were hanging out watching these videos of these people that have seen giants all over the world. And it's really crazy because you don't realize it until you see, like, wow, this is a phenomenon that's happening all over the place. And it's crazy. Let me see if I can find it.
Another TikTok account has posted a video that looks to be of a giant up on a mountain. We're seeing more and more of this, really, but TikTok is a good place, a social media platform where just the average person can post a video. It actually gets seen by millions and millions of people. We'll look at this video as well as some other videos of what appear to be giants up on mountainsides. Is this a fulfillment of the Brenton Septuagint translation of Isaiah 13:2? God saying, I give command and I bring them. Giants are coming to fill my wrath, rejoicing at the same time and insulting. This first video and most recent sighting I look at is from the TikTok page Nona. What brings a lot of credibility to this video as well as some of the other recent sightings is it comes from a TikTok page that was from someone just posting random videos really for probably their friends and family, not somebody who's just out there trying to get a lot of views. This video was taken somewhere, it seems, in India. You'll be able to hear from the people in the background. It sounds like they're freaking out while looking at what seems to be a
This is crazy.
standing on this mountainside.
And you see it standing right here.
That TikTok page has gone back to just posting regular videos. This is really just recorded something.
Oh
really
man!
Random, posted it, and it really something out of
and that's
the ordinary. It seems
why
sightings
a lot of people are like,
worldwide. This is a clip that I posted recently from someone in Utah working at a rock.
What the hell? It seems like these weird coincidences or these things are happening, and a lot of people don't realize, like, is this all connected? Does it have something to do with each other? You got TikTokers that are going missing. There was a video that came out not too long ago about this guy. That supposedly spotted a giant in Mexico. Here is the video or the short on
In Zhangjiakou, China, in October 2017, something extraordinary unfolded in a rural community located 120 miles from Beijing. It all started when the residents stumbled upon a fascinating discovery in a field, an immense 60-foot set of bones. These bones belonged to a highly peculiar creature, unlike anything they had ever seen before. The locals believe that these bones belong to an ancient dragon. Dragons hold great significance in Chinese culture, depicted in historical murals throughout the ages. However, scientists remained uncertain about the true nature of these remains. They couldn't conclusively identify the...
I think it's pretty cool. Here we have another one with the giant being seen.
That's a giant. Now you see a giant. Is walking into Camo Mountain. Is actually walking right into the big.
A lot of crazy sightings just all over the place where people are trying to figure out why it is all of a sudden now they're seeing these beings.
Caramba, Dios mío, qué miedo. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
And there you see them, two of them, chilling up on the mountain in Peru. And he stands up.
Dios mío. Mamá. Míralo. Ha crecido. Mamá. Se parece así a mi mamá. Qué miedo. Ay, qué miedo, me voy a poner a llorar. Hola.
Crazy.
In 1895, the Foster...
In Zhangjiakou...
There's this TikToker that...
Hey, sir.
But, like I said, it could be nothing. It could be something. It could be just people freaking tripping. But there are things, I guess, that are just happening that can't be explained all over the world. And I think the things that are going on with these, this, what we're seeing, this reset of people filming these creatures, these beings, does it have something to do with what's going on, the craziness that's going on in the world? I mean, I don't know. It just seems as something odd is happening. Here's another one. It's pretty crazy. How crazy is that? But like I said, I mean, it is what it is. History repeats itself, and just like it says in, ancient scripts, that the time of these beings, when they were walking around on the earth, it's going to be like that again, and they weren't destroyed. They'll just be back.
If you ever see this whilst you're swimming.
Here we are. The ravine.
This is one of the most disturbing prisons I've ever seen. It's from the show
Anyway. Hopefully you guys were able to get on and see the content, or just be able to follow along and check out the stream. I know it's been ridiculously crazy, and we're not able to get through the session that I wanted to get through because it was just like got thrown off. But if you're able to watch this later, it's probably going to look like crap because, like I said, it just was back and forth with the weather and the internet and everything going off and on. So I'm gonna throw these back on because my eyes are hurting. But you know, one of the things that I know I press it hard is, you know, lately with everything that's been going on and the news and yada yada yada, is that everything that's been going on, and hopefully things will simmer down and, you know, it won't get to that point where we're having to be faced with this crazy nuclear crap, and we can just, you know, get back to the world not being so crazy. Hopefully. But anyway, I know we kind of got off of the around a reset, you know, the Great Reset, and talking about things like that. But it seems that no matter however long, you know, they say it happens, you know, every 100 years or so, because when you think about it, it makes perfect sense that the children that grew up in my generation remember things, but the kids that grew up in the 90s or grew up in, you know, the late 90s to the 2000s, they'll never know about a lot of the things that we grew up, or I will never understand or realize what, you know, people before us in that generation were able to, or went through, or saw, or remember, or what they were taught in school. So it's easy, and it ties hand in hand with this whole thing of, you know, the Mandela effect, is that it's easy for them to erase history from a younger generation because that younger generation doesn't realize or is not aware of the things that happened before them if they've never been taught it. And it's pretty scary when you think about it. You see it all the time. I mean, these kids don't even know how to write fucking cursive, for Christ's sake. And they don't even teach it in school. So it's like, you know, that's just a little sliver of what, you know, erasing history or being able to erase something and people won't question it. But, you know, like I said, you have people that are my generation that grew up with things, you know, I remember the Fruit of the Loom, you know, cornucopia, and, you know, having that design on their emblem. And a lot of kids or people that grew up now will probably say, oh, well, I don't remember that. It was never like that because they never seen it. So it's easy for them just to write it off. But what else? I mean, are we at that threat where it's going to be able for them to just get rid of a lot of things in our history to, you know, to hide it from this generation or the future generations to come? If so, I mean, that's pretty dangerous shit. But I pray that it never gets to that point. I pray that our kids don't have to go through that. I mean, that's up to us. Like I said last time, as you know, as parents, and we're the sole educators of our kids, and for them to be able to understand the reality of how things are in the world, we can't rely on outside sources like the schools to implement those things for our kids, and just making our kids smart and aware of what's being taught to them, or just showing them historical issues or things that will make them or show them and to be able to be appreciative of who they are. And that goes back to their heritage and who are their ancestors are, who we are as Americans, and what people sacrificed or went through to make this nation a great nation. I mean, fuck, man, building, people pushing out west and traveling across the plains and fighting harshness just to be able to make a life and sustain that life with nothing. A lot of kids will never understand that because they don't teach that stuff in school. A lot of the times they might just bring it up and, because it's a curriculum that they have to brush over. But look at freaking the Oregon Trail. Fuck, we played that game in computer class. That was our thing. But we learned about it, and it was history. And now, you can't even talk about history and our forefathers without, somebody saying, oh, well, they were just a racist, they were racist pigs, that's all they want to bring up. And yes, there is truth to that. But it's something that we have to understand, is that you can't just put things on race all the time and put that blame on race. Oh, well, because he was a white man, he hated black people, or because, they were Native Americans that they hated. Yes. Marty said Westworld is a good story for resets. You don't mind if I show your statements on here, do you? Westworld is a great show. Great show to get, and you're right. I didn't even think about that, bro. I didn't even think about it. But when you see how it baffles me that it's so easy for people or organizations in the government to erase things, and people won't even, look at the freaking narrative that they were trying to push in the Star Wars thing. Luke, I am your father. Fuck, I remember that shit because we watched it over and over and over again. And they're sitting here saying, oh, well, he never said that. Oh, you hear it over and over and over again. And like I said, for the kids that didn't grow up with that and see those things or experience that stuff, they're not going to push it because they were like, yeah, maybe, I'm pretty sure that's what, if you're telling us that's what happened, that's probably what happened. But for people that seen it or lived it or went through it, they're thinking, wait a minute, that's not right. And those people that are pushing against that narrative because we remember and we're questioning it, we're the threat. Do you see does that make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? The threat isn't the changing of it. It's the people that remember the original content or remember the history are the threat. That's a good one. I think that we do not understand history to its fullest because we only know what we've been told by the people who were victorious or the people who wrote the history. And you're right, the threat is questioning the narrative. And that's why, we have to present this to our kids and show them this stuff. Because if we don't do it, they're not going to understand it. They're not, I used to sit down with my kids, my older children, and show them, Native American movies or military movies or Greek movies or historical movies, because it's showing them things that, well, this is why this happened, or this is why, Great Britain came to power, or this is why Rome fell, or this is why we had such slavery across the world, and this is why Native Americans were slaughtered by the thousands. And, it's giving them a chance to look at that history, not only because it has, personal implications, because I want my children to know who they are and where they come from and where their ancestors came from, and the things that they did to help build this nation. The narrative that, like I said in last episode last week, that we want to sit here and say, oh, well, it was the white man that enslaved black people and brought them to this country, when in fact it wasn't even that. It was black people who sold their own people to the white people. And even in fact today, in countries where it's not even a thing of white people who are enslaving other cultures or other nationalities, it's the people that live with these people that are selling their own people that are enslaved. I have to check it out. I haven't heard about it. Has anybody else heard of Star Forts? What is it, man? Give me some insight, some back. One of the things that really is, I'll check it out, man. I'll look into it. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Just checking that out, because they were saying that these are seen all over the world, and not just in America, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia. And can you guys hear me? Okay. Let me put this up real quick, because you're right. That was something that I was looking at, and there was one that was really, let me see. All right, so this is a star fort. All right. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's in the military or anybody who's lived around forts has seen these. Yeah, that is crazy. And not only is it just the forts, but it's the designs themselves that are seen or being depicted throughout historical artwork. And I think, if, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has something to do with like the Great Pyramids, like ley lines, or the magnetic field in that area where it's at on the Earth. I might be wrong, but I was looking at something that had. Right. There you go. Let me see. That's something I'm going to have to look at and get a little bit more research into that in itself, because I know we were just looking at something like this on the computer, and I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting, and I just like brushed over it and just like didn't even pay no mind to it. But yeah, this is going to have to be something good. I'm going to have to check this out. And that is something that the great deluge of that time, when we see, like I was talking about in the Epic of Humanity with Billy Carson and Matthew LaCroix, they were talking about how, yeah, that's right, man. Truth is in art. And a lot of times we don't realize it because we weren't, that's not something that was just, it's something that we don't think of because it wasn't in our time. And that's what I mean, is that reset is, if we can distract or get that out of people's mindset or have them not focusing on that kind of stuff, you're not going to worry about that. Right? And only some people that are, like I said before, I put that out there when I first started this podcast, is that they tell us that when you put these glasses on of knowledge and being in tune, and your vibration and your intuitiveness is at a level where you're at that vibration to where you can see things and be like, this isn't right, or there's something going on with that. And so when you research it and you look into it, your knowledge of what is going on at that time, because at that time is like a vibration. It's a frequency, and you're tapping into it. So there's those people that are able to tap into that vibration and that frequency, and you're becoming in tune with that level. And right, like Thoth was saying, is that those who seek knowledge, it's never ending. It's constant. You're always going to be striving to learn more, to seek out people who know more than you and learn from them. Not say, oh, well, I'm not going to, sit here and listen to you because I know everything. That's not how it works. And Thoth said, those who are able to open themselves up to learn knowledge, it's like an abundance of overflowing. It's like, when you open up a dam and the waters just come through, that's what it's like. It's like you're constantly striving to understand and learn more and progress yourself, not just spiritually, but mentally. And you're opening yourself to that frequency and being in tune with that. It's like that movie They Live. I keep going on about it. That's good stuff. Right. It's where, you become aware of what's really going on around you and the truth of what is being done or happening around you. You see it for what it really is. And it's like me trying to sit here and tell people that are, they're not in tune. They're not at that frequency yet because their eyes aren't spiritually open and the knowledge isn't in them already, that they won't understand. They won't get it. But it's being able to talk and let people understand and bring this out to them and have them research it and look into it for themselves, that you're planting those seeds in people's mind to be able to be like, okay, well, look at this stuff. Check it out for yourself. Look into it. Because I can't, other people who are in tune, who are aware of things that are going on, we can't make you do it. We can't make you see it. And a lot of people call it going down the rabbit hole. it might be just that for a lot of people, because I know for me at the beginning, when I started this journey of seeking this knowledge and this understanding of what truth is, it, you know, we are it's never ending. It's constant. It's continuous. Every day is something new, and we're learning and we're constantly understanding what is going on and what's happening, not just in our own lives, but around us. And you're able to like look at something and it's different. You're not looking at movies the same way. You're not reading books the same way. You're not looking at things on, social media or the news or in politics or around the world, or like Marty was saying about the star forts. You don't look at it the same way because you're like, holy crap. That has something to do with ancient knowledge. And you start looking at art. You start looking at buildings. You start looking at historical sites, and you start questioning it. Like, wow, this is deep. And it's exciting and it's cool, but at the same time, it's kind of scary, because when you talk to people, that's the other thing too, is I liked how Billy Carson was saying that you should always watch who you speak to and what you're saying to people, because they may not be at that frequency where they're at your level, and they may not be in tune with what you have to say. And it's hard for them to understand it. And all they're going to do is just criticize you and call you crazy, because they don't understand. So I encourage anybody who's getting this level of intuitiveness and knowledge and understanding and researching and doing their own, I want to call it spiritual journey. It can seem hard at times, but just know that you're not alone. Just know that you're not by yourself. There's plenty of other people who are doing exactly what you're doing. And that's true, breaking that cycle. And it was hard for me. I talked about it in older episodes on this podcast, is that it was hard for me, because it's not easy for somebody who grew up Catholic and grew up Christian and who grew up in that household where it was just, the Bible was the word, that was the whole thing, and everything else was a lie, and there was no truth. And it was like Waterboy, where he went and told his mom, I'm so happy, I learned about Benjamin Franklin, and she was just like, we don't learn about that stuff. Benjamin Franklin is the devil. I invented electricity. Is because he was programmed to think that his mom was everything. And he was like, no, mama, you're wrong. Like, you didn't invent electricity. And that's how it gets. It's, that's just a metaphor and just, a way of describing it, is just, that's how it is to people. Because when you break out of that and then you go and you try and explain it to people, they're looking at you like, what the freak? But it's when you do the research and when you look into things. And, like I said, I thank Billy Carson a lot, and I thank Dr. Stephen Greer, and I think, Zachariah Sitchin, and I think a lot of the men and women that have gone forth and are doing this research, in these books, and looking at these Gnostic Gospels, and these books that were left out of the Bible, and, have significant information that they just did not want to have, brought out. And it sucks. Yeah, and that's the good thing about it too, is that when you can get the information firsthand from people's mouth, like you're saying about the Native Americans and their history, for me, I'm always No, you're good. Don't be sorry, man. That's what I said. This is good stuff because we're able to, get on and talk about this stuff and share information with each other. Because you bring up a lot of points that I don't know. So it gets me to going, okay, well, let me write this down because I'm going to have to look this up. And, Native American, like for my kids, I always have them ask, I'm telling them, well, ask your aunties, ask your, we'll get a hold of one of the tribal members because I want them to know about things that happened in our tribe and who we are and where we come from, because there's a lot of history there, but it's suppressed because you got to remember that, this is going into another subject, is that people talk about, the assimilation of, the colonists that came here or the Spaniards that came here to colonize, but they didn't colonize. They made people freaking do what they wanted to. You're not going to be Native American. You're going to be unsavaged. We're going to break you. You're going to learn just like we do. You're going to talk and dress just like we do. We're going to change you. And that was their mindset. And as it is, you see it, we're doing it now. Even in these times, you're going to change your mindset. You're going to change how, your free will of thinking, and you're going to forget about all that stuff and do exactly what we're telling you that you're going to do. So in a way, it is history repeating itself. And it's really scary, but for those of us who are awake to the bullshit, we're not going to fall for it. And we're trying to help wake up our fellow brothers and sisters to be able to get them to understand and see what's really happening. Do your research. Talk to other people. And if you're having, these thoughts of, thinking that you're alone in this stuff, or, you think that, this is too much for me. I can't understand this. This is just overwhelming. Because it can be. It can be overwhelming. A lot. And I get it. But you're not alone. And we are a community of people that are just here trying to help each other. I did too. When I started doing it, well, that was one of the things that I had talked to my wife about, is that it became, I told her, I said, if it becomes to that point where you want me to shut up, because I was constantly just talking to her about stuff that was just coming to me, or I was just looking into things, or I was just like sharing with her about stuff, about the moon landing and about, past historical events and, what things meant. And, we started getting into, how I was uncovering or CIA documents that were being released talking about, how they do every test based on a flat earth theory, that they do all their calculations and they do it based, that's their grounding for doing all their testing through NASA. And not only just NASA, but other government agencies. I flipped the hell out. And a lot of things that are coming to pass, or people or that are researching it and finding it, is I think that it's, the awakening has always been there, but I believe that like you said, the algorithms are put out there for people to be like, okay, well, Dr. Stephen Greer said it best, is the misinformation or the purposeful misinformation that is being put out to people to deceive them, to break up those chains, because you see it happened during the 60s with the hippies. You had the CIA who infiltrated, the little hippie organizations to get information and then tell them about things or put information within the groups to just give them disinformation, which ultimately led to a lot of, people being told the wrong things, and it wasn't the truth that they were actually seeing because it was, they were given the wrong narrative on purpose. And that's where Dr. Stephen Greer says you have to be careful. You have to watch out who's giving you this information. You have to watch out who your source is and who that person, are they credible? Are, like this, the hearings that they had in Washington about, UFOs. Now, there are some people that I will look at or listen to about the UFO I can't even think of the word to say right now about it, but that whole, extraterrestrial life, UFOs, that whole umbrella that falls under. There are people that, like I said, the government will just give you disinformation. There are people that are plants that will say things to lead you away from the truth when they're trying to make it seem like they're giving you that information, that it is right. It sounds credible. They might present you with some things, but it doesn't mean that it's the right information. Now, if Dr. Stephen Greer is going to come out and say something and then he's going to present you with that information, I'm pretty sure that it's true. And he's probably got a good reason for saying what he's telling you, because it's got something to do with awakening your mind. And you're right. It's they're pretty much Agent Smiths. They're the wranglers, the guys that are getting, people to get back in to doing what they want us to do. And it sucks because it's like a lot of people get lost in the sauce, or they get lost and they don't know what to believe, or they the wrong thing. And you try and help people. Tomorrow or Sunday? Tomorrow or Sunday, whichever one. She said something about her mom was going to be doing something with her or whatever. Her mom said Sunday. But, tell her I'll call her tomorrow. Yeah, I said that you're going to call you. Yeah. All right. Is she okay? Yeah, I said okay. There are a lot of times where it's easy to get lost in the sauce, and it's easy to get caught up in the bullshit because you get so in depth into it that you got to find a balance. And a lot of times people can't do that, and it becomes a problem because call her back. A lot of people can't find that balance, and it becomes a real big problem. And for people that have families, you've got to be able to find that balance and not let it consume you to the point to where you're just like, holy crap. And for people that don't have families, I think it's a lot easier because you're not tied up with, having to, do your daily life and have that time with your family and being able to, adjust it. But I think that with the right help from, people like, Dr. Stephen Greer and, Adam LaCroix and Billy Carson and places like Gaia that have this disclosure information where they are whistleblowers that have worked in these programs or worked with these agencies that are trying to give out the information and wake people up to what's really going on. And they're backed by these people that are credible, is what will bring out the truth in the end, or will help people spiritually awaken it and understand what is really going on. And like I've said before, I'm just glad that I was able to be supported by my family. And, my wife was like, you really need to try this and do this because you have a lot of information that you want to help people understand and put out that, you and I sitting here talking to it, you're overwhelming my brain. She would tell me I'm overwhelming her with it because it's like, you're looking into stuff and you're wanting to talk about it and you're wanting to put this stuff out. And it's like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff that reaching everybody that has the same mindset as you becomes really hard. And being able to do this and, getting the support from, it can be a lot. And sometimes, being able to discuss it with other people and say, yeah, how have you heard about this, or this is what's going on, or do you know about this? And you get into talking about it. It becomes really easy for a lot of people because then you're able to open up to other people who are on that same frequency wave. Yeah, and sometimes it just becomes too much because a lot of times you get into like, for instance, this child trafficking thing. This is one thing that hits hard for me. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, the whole Pizzagate story. Now we're finding out that this shit was real. And all these people that got freaking thrown to the side, oh, you're a fucking nut job and blah, 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 blah. We know that this stuff was happening. We know it was going on. We know that these people in high places were freaking a part of it. John Podesta, Bill Clinton, all these people on Epstein's list. But it goes so much deeper. Like I said, this is another rabbit hole. It's a whole other topic. But it's like I'm saying, I'm using it as a reference because a lot of people don't want to believe that that kind of stuff can happen. But it does. And as sick as it may be, and the depths and the craziness that people will go to, it will blow your mind because you're like, how could this happen? How could we in a society in human nature allow this to happen? But there is such evil in this world. I don't even know if you would call it evil. It's like beyond evil. It's pure darkness. And that is one thing that I found in the Emerald Tablets is that Thoth talks about these realms of darkness, the influence that it will have on mankind, that it is so deep that people won't even see it for what it really is, and sometimes until it's too late. And that's where we are in a society where a lot of people are into that. They're like this, and they just want to stay like this, or they just want to put the blinders on and just keep going. They don't want to see what's going on, and they're oblivious to it because they don't want to hear it. So I think a lot of times that, people who put out this information like Alex Jones, I think the guy's, he's an extremist, but I think what he's, the way he puts out the information, it's really hard for people to stomach it or to be able to take it because he's really passionate about what he talks about. And they're just, I guess some people are on those levels where it's easier to talk to somebody where you can just have a normal straight dialect where you're not having people shouting and screaming and going crazy ape shit about stuff. But for the most part, I really pray to the higher power that a lot of people wake up and they understand and they realize what is going on and their spiritual awakening. They're able to break those chains of their mental bondage that they're in, of being in this box, that they don't want to accept things outside of that box, and that they're able to do that. And that, that a lot of people, if, they share this with family members who are having a hard time breaking out of that box because they don't want to accept it. And they, we talk about a subject that, you share it with your family member because, there's information that they're going to get out of it, that they're going to be able to say, hey, look, this is some stuff that he shared, or this is some stuff that I was talking to you about that, he's going to touch on or whatever. And I've had people that have done that sit down, not only just, I don't even know these people on the podcast that are following, but I've had family members who've watched that have contacted me and was like, man, you were talking about this and it made me think about it. And I looked into it and it was crazy because you would never think about it. And I said, that's the whole point, is it gets you into thinking about it and looking into it. And once you plant that seed into people, that's what you want. I can only give you this information. It's up to you to do your researching and get the knowledge and do your due diligence in your research. And there's going to be a lot of things, that we're going to talk about on here that I'm pretty sure people aren't going to want to accept. And I know that's really hard for, a lot of people that I know. You see those memes about, I'm not going to stop talking about what I'm saying. I'm not going to change who I am because people in my family or friends can't fathom the things that I'm talking about. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? If you don't want to talk to me at Thanksgiving or Christmas or birthday parties or Easter or whatever, that's fine. But if you're going to talk to me about it, just be prepared for what I'm going to tell you. I'm not telling you that I'm right. I'm just giving you you ask me about something, or you bring up a topic, or you're talking about a topic. If I give it to you, take it or you don't. I'm not going to force it down anybody's throat. This is just the knowledge that I have, that I'm just giving it to you to look into. You could choose to believe it or not. And that's where a lot of people have that problem where they don't want to. They want to shove it down people's throat. And it's really hard for people to do that because they don't want to, because they're not ready for it. So I hope that a lot of people are able to wake up, and it is happening. A lot of people are understanding and they're getting in tune, because I think we're at that cuspus of knowledge and information that we are understanding the reality, that the matrix that we've been held in bondage through for so long, that we're breaking out of it in mass numbers, that you can't hide it anymore. It's going to be hard for people to sit here and feed you bullshit and you just take it. So I just want to thank everybody for the support. I just want to thank everybody for, it gets crazy sometimes, I know, but a lot of times we get on topic and we talk about things, and the information becomes so much that I have to break it up into 2 parts, or I have to save it for the next show or whatever. I could stay on here all damn night, but like I said, reach out to me on the podcast on Seeker of the Unknown, either on Facebook or on YouTube. The videos are on there. You can comment and like the videos, share it with your friends, family members, whatever. I mean, please, if you want to get this information out to other people that are not otherwise into that stuff or into what we talk about here on the show, please do it. Because the more we get this information out there, and the more people that we awake from their spiritual mental bondage, anytime, brother, that's, this is, you guys just like I said, this is what, we're here to do. This is why I made the podcast, and this is why I said is I like having these conversations. I like being able to have people on here and have discussions. And if somebody was to come on here and be like, you're full of shit, blah blah blah, well, why do you think that? The information that I'm giving to you isn't mine. This is stuff that's been around for a long time. But it's able to have that discussion and just being able to talk about things with fellow like-minded people that, we're able to have, a good time. So I appreciate you guys coming along with me on this journey and being able to, have these discussions. And I'm sorry if it seems like it's mundane, but like I said, this podcast is in its infancy and we're doing this stuff on the whim. And it's going to get better, and it's going to get a lot more progressive as time goes on. And I will see you guys next week. I'm going to be taking care of some family business that I got to take care of, but I will keep in touch, and I will be checking on, my posts on, like I said, on Facebook and on YouTube. But remember, always keep searching, always keep questioning, always look into things that just don't seem right, because you never know, you might be the one that finds something that leads to a bigger awakening of information and knowledge that other people need. And you're the one that might be able to pass it on to everybody and help other people see and realize that. And that's right. Live your life. Live your life. Don't be in fear. Don't be in bondage, and don't be controlled. Don't let other people control your narrative of your life and how you do things. And just remember that there is so much more to this life than what we've been told. There is so much more to who we are and what we are and why we're here, that you can't be filled with fear and held to the narrative of, like I said, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now, but just remember that this life is a learning experience, and we are all meant here to learn, and we were all placed here for a reason. We were all created for a purpose, and your life means something. And that's another thing that I'd like to advocate for is that if you know somebody that's going through something and they're having a hard time with whatever's going on in their life, they're not able to get around those circumstances, help out those people. Talk to them. Reach out to them. Whatever you got to do. But just let people know. I mean, if you are dealing with something, yeah, this is like therapy right here. You're not alone. You are not alone in this world. Your life is so precious and means so much that if nobody's ever told you how important you are, I'm telling you, you're important. Your life means something. Your life is worth so much more than you could ever fathom. And if you guys ever need a place to talk, hit me up. I'll be here, and if I don't get back to you right away, I will get back to you. But like I said, I appreciate everybody for coming along and being on this journey with me, and it means a lot. And I hope in some ways it helps. And it's a place where we could just be free and have great discussions and talk about subject matter that we are all interested in, and share in this journey together. And you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And always remember to, one of the things that I always was pushed on is listen to your inner voice, listen to your spirit. If it's telling you something's wrong, or it tells you, to think twice about something, please listen to it. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. And we will get together again next week, if not sooner. and we will have another great discussion, another great topic for next week. If it doesn't happen earlier or sooner than Friday, we will try to get it going. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys all for being here. Take care of yourselves, and we will we'll hit this up again. It was a great night. I'm glad you guys all joined in. And if you haven't watched the videos, it's going to be able to be replayed again on the page, on Facebook, on Secret of the Unknown, and also on YouTube. And I will talk to you guys. Thank you guys so much. And always remember, question everything. Question everything. The narrative isn't always what we've been told. You guys take care of yourself, and I will see you guys next week.